Let's start with this new Strimzi conference. So welcome everyone, and welcome to the new edition, the 2025 edition of StrimziCon after the success that we had last year with the StrimziCon 2024. So let's begin the conference. And about today, what we are going to see today. So today we will have this half day, is afternoon here in Europe. So we are going to have 7 sessions with 11 speakers, and these speakers are coming from 5 different organizations. So what we set up for this half day will be 4 hours of content that we are going to have together during the day. So let's move on, and let me start with some thanks. So first of all, I would like to thank the program committee. As you can see here, these are all the people that work together in order to set up the agenda. We will get a lot of proposals. Thank you very much for all the people who submitted these proposals in order to have a session here and talk at StrimziCon. Of course, it was really difficult for the program committee to pick the best ones in order to make an amazing agenda, but I guess that in the end we succeeded. So thank you very much again to the program committee for that. Of course, other than the program committee, I would like to thank all the speakers. There is no conference, of course, without speakers, because how we are going to have these 4 hours of content during the StrimziCon today without all the people who submitted their proposals and they were accepted for their ideas about sharing their knowledge, their experience with using Strimzi. So thank you very much to all the speakers. As I said, other than me and Kate for the keynote, we will have, so in total, we will have 11 speakers from 5 different organizations. And then, of course, other than the speakers, I would like to thank the community. So thank you very much to the community, to the Strimzi community. Of course, open source project is successful only when there is a great community behind it. So a lot of people contributing, providing feedback, and helping the project to grow. So even having this conference is the result of the engagement that we have from our amazing Strimzi community. As you can see here, some numbers. We reached 5.2K GitHub stars, a lot of forks of the project itself. We have 3.5K members on Slack, so a lot of people and users using Strimzi, jumping into Slack for asking help, for providing feedback, for raising bugs, and so on, together with all the other ways that we have, and we will talk about that later. We have almost 300 active contributors during the last year, of course, and a lot of committing organizations, and here the number is about 24 adopters. This is actually the number coming from our adopters list, and companies which have the logos on our official website, on the Strimzi website. But to be honest, from my experience, to see the users in Slack and going to conferences and talking with other users, I can actually say that there are more than that. So we have really, I guess, a lot of companies who are really using Strimzi and using Strimzi in production since a lot of years at this point. So thank you very much, everyone, from the program committee to the speakers to the community. And with that, let me hand over to Kate in order to start talking about our beloved project, Strimzi.
Thank you, Paolo. We're all here, of course, to talk about Strimzi. And I'd just like to say a massive thank you to Paolo as well for organising this event for the second year. For those of you who haven't heard of Strimzi before, perhaps this is your first time stumbling across the project and wanting to know what it's about. Strimzi simplifies the process of running Apache Kafka on Kubernetes. It's designed to be secure by default, simple yet configurable, and it provides a Kubernetes native experience for running Apache Kafka. And last year we talked a little bit more in depth about the benefits of using Strimzi, how the project came about. But for this year, we wanted to focus instead on what we've been up to, and then we'll talk about how you can contribute as well. So what have we been doing for the past year? So we had our first ever StrimziCon in May last year. And since then, we've had a whole bunch of releases. So we did our first release after StrimziCon, which was 042 in July. And then we've had a whole set of releases with all sorts of amazing features. And I'll touch on just a few of them in a minute. But we've got two particular releases that it's worth noting. In December of last year, we had our last release that includes Zookeeper support, because of course, Zookeeper is being removed from Apache Kafka, or has been removed. So 045 will be supported until the end of this year, and then you all should be moving along to the new version 046, which has come out already in May of this year, and that's running craft mode only. So if you're still waiting to do your migration from Zookeeper mode to craft mode, then go to 045, do the migration, and then you can upgrade to 046 and get all of the amazing new features that will be coming soon to Strimzi. So what have we actually been adding? So around running the Kafka cluster, as I mentioned, we've now moved fully to craft mode. So we've done a bunch of work to remove the Zookeeper support within Strimzi. There was also an additional feature around unregistering the craft nodes when you scale down. So we added that in the past year. Over the last year, we've also then upgraded the supported versions of Apache Kafka as those new ones have come out. So the latest version of Strimzi is running with Apache Kafka 4, which is of course the one that runs craft mode only. We've had a few different updates around running Kafka Connect and Mirror Maker in Strimzi. So there are some new mechanisms you can use in the custom resources. So you can now manage your Connect offsets directly in the custom resources rather than needing to use any endpoint. And we've also made use of the new health endpoint that was added upstream as part of monitoring the Connect workers as well. As part of moving to Kafka 4, Mirror Maker 1 was removed from Apache Kafka, so we've also removed that from Strimzi. So you should be using Mirror Maker 2. In terms of certificate handling improvements, there are some more things coming, which I'll talk about in a minute, but we've made a few different improvements. So we now have all of our Kafka node certificates in separate secrets. So that allows you to have smaller secrets rather than one really big secret. And we've allowed fewer rolling updates as well when you have certificates being reissued. Some other areas that we've added improvements, we've now got the Strimzi Prometheus metrics reporter, which is in early access. And if you're interested in what that is, then stick around because we actually have a session all about that later today. For cruise control integration, we now have auto rebalancing on scale up and scale down. So if you add more brokers to your cluster or remove brokers, you can have Strimzi via cruise control automatically move your partitions on and off the brokers as it does the scale up or down. In terms of changes around the HTTP bridge and OAuth plugin, we've had several new releases. And for the bridge, we now support the OpenAPI v3. And then finally, we had our first version of a new component called Access Operator, which allows you to collect together all of the credentials that you need for applications to access your Kafka clusters. So you can check that out if you're interested in that. So as I said, those are just kind of a few things that we've been adding. There is a whole heap more that you can check out on GitHub. But what about in the future? And we've put the same caveat here that we did last year, which is we hope. This is because this is an open source project, and actually what we add really depends on you, the community. So we are really keen to get feedback wherever we can of if we're working on the right features. And of course, as community members, you can come and contribute the features that you want to see as well. So these are just a few that we know are coming, but if you're interested in these or in other things, then do come and participate. So the first one is actually not something that we're adding. This is something we would like the community to do. So craft mode is ready to go. We have it in the latest version of Strimzi as the only option, but what we need now is the community to do your migration. So if you don't have any clusters that have been updated yet, then do the migration up to craft mode. We have a lot of documentation of how to do this, and you can do this without any downtime as well. So yeah, this is the call to action for you to update your clusters. In terms of other future things we're working on, we're looking at adding Cert Manager integration to Strimzi. So this would allow you to have certificates issued via Cert Manager rather than Strimzi issuing themselves, or you having to issue the CA and then rely on Strimzi to issue the actual end certificates. We're also looking at adding self-healing. So this is a feature that's available within Cruise Control, but it's not currently integrated into Strimzi. And there's actually an open proposal for this. So if you go and have a look at our proposals GitHub project, you can weigh in on this particular feature and see if it would fit your use cases. And if there's any areas that we can improve, we'd love to get some feedback on that. And the final question here is back to you to say, what would you like to see? As I said, it's up to the community what we work on and where you think the right area is. So please do have a look at any new features that are listed in issues or proposals that are being discussed, because you really can scope where we go with the Strimzi project. So talking about the future and you shaping the project, how do you actually do that? So we thought we'd spend a little bit of time talking about what you can do to help if you would like to extend your engagement in the Strimzi community, or maybe you're brand new and you're not really sure how to engage at all. So we have 3 different ways that you can engage and help with the Strimzi project. The first one is connecting with other people in the project. The second one is sharing your experience with Strimzi. And then the final one is contributing. So I'll give a few more details for each of these. So hopefully for those of you who are really familiar with the Strimzi project, none of these will be a surprise, but we have loads of different ways for you to connect. We have the Strimzi and Strimzi Dev channels on Slack. So I think most people hopefully are familiar with Strimzi, but maybe you're not aware of the Dev channel. And we host community calls every other week, and we alternate the time zones. So no matter where you are in the world, hopefully we'll have a community call that's the right time zone for you. If you go to the GitHub projects, or if you go to our website, you should be able to find the links for the community call and the calendar and everything. We have the CNCF Strimzi users and Strimzi Dev mailing lists that you can use. And of course, we've got different social media presence as well. So if you're on any of these social media platforms, please follow the Strimzi account, and then you can help us to amplify messages about new features, new versions, that sort of thing. And then finally, we have our YouTube channel. So you'll find all of the recordings from StrimziCon last year already on the YouTube channel, as well as videos from the community calls. So they're all recorded and uploaded there. We also add videos of new versions. So if you want a rundown of all of the new features that were in the latest version of Strimzi, you can look there. And the recordings from this year's StrimziCon will also go up on that YouTube channel. So next, sharing. There are loads of different ways that you can share your experience and expertise with Strimzi. If you can provide any feedback about the project, that's really beneficial. And that's not just sharing what bugs you found, but also, are there particular features that somebody's requested that actually you would really like to see and would be really beneficial to you? Good and bad feedback is all useful to us. So we want to know, what can we improve, but also where are the areas where you wish there was even more features than there are already? And what's working really well for you right now? Secondly is joining GitHub discussions. So this applies to GitHub, but also things like Slack as well. If you have experience of using Strimzi, then you can go ahead and answer people's questions on Slack, on GitHub. You don't have to be a maintainer. You can be any member of the community to join in the conversation. And it's really useful for people to hear from others who are using Strimzi in their organizations. We also have a blog. So if you have a particular use case or a particular feature that you have a lot of experience with and you think actually it'd be great to share this with other community members, anyone can raise a pull request to add a post to the blog. So go on the GitHub pages and you can raise your pull request and we'll get it updated onto the blog. So the blog is accessible via the website if you haven't had a look already. And then finally, we would love for even more people to showcase their adoption. As Paolo said, we have a bunch of adopters who are listed on the website and on the adopters GitHub page, but it would be great to get even more. It's a really good way for us to be able to show how many different organizations are relying on Strimzi. So if you aren't already there, then go create the right pull requests to add your adoption as well. And then finally, contributing. There are loads of different ways for you to contribute. It's not just about writing code. So improving the documentation is a really good starting point. If you're brand new to Strimzi and you're finding certain parts don't quite make sense or need clarification, this can be really useful because more experienced community members might already understand how it works, so they might not see where the documentation could be clearer. Obviously, you can implement features and fix bugs. And if you're looking to get started with this, then definitely go to the Strimzi Dev Slack channel and you can ask there for help. And you can also propose enhancements. So we have two different ways to do this. You can raise an issue and request a new feature. Or, of course, you can go to our proposals repository, which is where we keep all of the kind of bigger proposals. So you could also write a proposal there as well. And the final one around contributing is reviewing changes. So you don't actually have to make any code changes in order to review other people's changes. And as I said, feedback is so useful. So whether that's reviewing specific code changes or just reviewing the other proposals that people have raised, often it's really useful for people to even just comment on a proposal or an issue and say, actually, I would really benefit from having this feature, because it helps the community members to understand where they should be putting their efforts in adding new features. So before I finish and hand back over to Paolo, I just wanted to talk briefly about the different roles in Strimzi for those who aren't aware. So as I said, any kind of contribution that you make makes you a contributor. So we have many, many contributors and we are so grateful to all of them. But there are two specific roles within Strimzi. If you're looking to expand your role and get more involved, you can become a component owner or a maintainer. Both of these, there's a specific process to follow, and the maintainers will vote on who becomes a component owner or a maintainer. But each of these has a specific role. And it's really useful to go and have a look at who the current component owners and maintainers are, because when you're making code changes, these are the people that need to approve your code changes in order for them to get into Strimzi. So a component owner is someone who has expertise in a specific area of Strimzi. So for example, I'm the component owner for the access operator. Separately from that, you can be a maintainer. So you don't have to be a component owner to become a maintainer, but a maintainer takes more overall responsibility and looks at various different areas of the project. So I'm a maintainer and Paolo is also a maintainer. But if you're opening a new pull request, then definitely go and have a look and see if there's a component owner in that area and become aware of who the maintainers are, because they're often the people that will be able to help you if you're getting stuck. And as I said, that Strimzi dev channel is really useful. So with that, I'm going to hand back over to Paolo to tell you what we've got in store for you today.
Thank you, Kate. So yeah, great presentation about Strimzi. We know from where the project is coming, what's the present, and maybe what's going to be the future. So what's going to happen today in StrimziCon? Let's take a look at our agenda. So yeah, we will have several different topics on the agenda. We will start with a session around how to use, so how to upgrade a Strimzi for a Kafka fleets or cluster that you have. Then we will move to a session talking about the idea or the proposal that is upstream about how to run a Kafka cluster, stretching the cluster across multiple Kubernetes clusters with Strimzi. And then we will have a session about integration in this case, right? How Strimzi can be used together with the OpenTelemetry for better observability. Then some use case and real scenario by using Strimzi together with the GitOps pattern. And then after that, the new project coming, which is the Prometheus metrics reporter and its integration within Kafka for monitoring. And then an important topic, which is about running in craft mode. So we will get even some insights about the migration steps in order to move your Zookeeper cluster to craft. And finally, we will have a session of how to set up your environment in order to use Kind for local development together with Strimzi. So as you can see, 7 sessions with several different topics. Say that what are the ways that you can engage with us and with the speakers during the conference. You can use the Q&A in order to ask questions. Please consider that the Q&A allows just to answer one time. So if you want to start a discussion where we have threads, it's better to use the baby chat instead of the Q&A. But if you ask a question in the Q&A, we will also try to have this question to be answered live. So reserving some questions to be answered live from the speaker. Of course, it would be great if you can share what's happening here through the social channels. So you can use this StrimziCon 2025 hashtag in order to have them all gathered together, for example, on the X platform. And yeah, you can also join the Strimzi Slack channel on the CNCF workspace in order to continue the discussion. So if your question was not answered because of the timing, or in order to deep into more details about some stuff, the speakers will be anyway available on the Strimzi Slack channel even after their talk. So we encourage to do so. And say that, yeah, I wish you to enjoy this conference. And we are going to take more or less less than 10 minutes break in order to allow you to grab a coffee. And then we will start with our first session. So enjoy StrimziCon.